So people, I want first to tell you who we are. I'll be taking you through COVID-19 and gender-based violence and what is happening. I'll also be able to share with you some statistics just to show you what is happening. Now, the statistics that I'll be sharing, unfortunately, from the Gender Violence Recovery Center, they may not represent the whole country, but because we are in different counties, it could be a representation of what is happening in the country. And I think that's why the CS is relying on data from the Gender Violence Recovery Center. So I want to give you a brief history of the Nairobi Women's Hospital and Gender Violence Recovery Center. So who
Becky,
are we?
Before you continue, we kindly request you put on the slideshow.
Oh, you can see?
You put the slideshow so they can occupy the entire screen.
Okay, sorry. Good.
Thank you.
Now you can see?
Now we can, thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry for that. So yeah, so I will be, let me repeat, I'll be discussing a little bit about the GBV, that is gender-based violence, and the management. How, as counselors and psychologists, how can we try to manage GBV? Yet there are restrictions, there are curfew, and actually what is happening in the country. And I said I will give statistics from our organization, which could be representing the country or not representing the country. It could be more than that. However, because we don't have other statistics from any other source for now, we may be relying with the statistics that I'll be sharing. So let me give you a brief history of who we are. So we are the Gender Violence Recovery Center, and we are a non-profit making charitable organization of the Nairobi Women's Hospital. And I know people have a lot of confusion between Nairobi Women's Hospital and GVRC. So now you know that GVRC is a charitable organization of the Nairobi Women's Hospital. We've been in existence for the last 19 years. And we've been accredited by COSASA. COSASA is a body that accredits health facilities from, it's an international body from South Africa. So we've been accredited to deal with issues of gender-based violence. So what is our mandate? And I will keep saying our, because I am representing the organization. I was invited by Helen, not as individual, and of course, representing the organization. So what is the mandate of gender-based GVRC? So our mandate is to respond to issues of gender-based violence. So we do response, that is, we give free services, medical and psychosocial support. And I know we are here because of more of psychosocial support to all survivors of gender-based violence. All survivors, I mean male, female, boys and girls. Other than the response, other than the treatment and psychosocial, we do, because we are not all over the country, and I'll tell you where we are, we do something we call primary prevention. And in our primary prevention, we work with different stakeholders to create awareness. We do advocacy, and I'll be able to show you what kind of an advocacy we have done so far. What is our track record? Our track record, we have been able to support the government on different laws, on different GBV, gender rules and laws. We have been able to work with different stakeholders, and our key mandate right now, where you can see, you currently all the county governments are opening a GVRC, that is a gender-based violence recovery centers. And so GVRC is the one mandated to help all the counties to open, to help the county have a functional GVRC. So how do we work with the hospital before I move from? So what we do, we carry out something we call integrated we carry out an integrated support. Integrated meaning that when a survivor comes to the hospital, so where you see Nairobi Women's, you see GVRC, you will be treated just like a private client, but you will not be charged. So that is what we call an integrated process. I know by now we know that was a basic introduction of who we are. We are not in many counties. We are in Meru. I'm happy I had guys from Meru. We are in Mombasa. I know those in Mombasa, they have heard of Nairobi Women's Hospital and Gender Violence Recovery Center. We are in Nairobi. We are in Kajiado. Those who are talking about Kajiado, we are in Rongai and Kitengera. In Nairobi, I'm sure so many people know that we are in Haringam and Adams. And we have our head office at Marik Building. Marik Building is a building that is in Gong Road. Actually, that is where I am right now. That is where our head office is. Then we are in Nakuru County, that is Rift Valley. We are in Naivasha. I don't know what, we are in Naivasha and we are in Nakuru. Nakuru, we have 2 facilities. Soon we are moving to Eldoret. We were supposed to open it in December, but there were a few challenges that we found ourselves in as an organization, but now we have cleaned out whatever was happening. So we may be going to Eldoret sooner than we thought. Yes, that's a little bit about who we are and where we started and our relationship with the hospital. And now I'm coming to the key thing that brought us here as psychologists. Hallelujah. I know you can say yes, but you have muted your mic. I know I'll give you some few minutes to ask a question, but let me introduce my topic. So today I'll be discussing about gender-based violence, and of course I'll also be looking at domestic violence, which is inside the gender-based violence. So what is? I'll start with an introduction of GBV, and you can see from the slide I have borrowed from the WHO, which I will not really read about it because I'm talking to psychologists who are aware of what is GBV. So I will not read about it because I really want to go to the meet and greet. Now, why are we discussing this topic and COVID? It's because there have been an increase of different forms of sexual and gender-based violence, and this is including intimate partner in many countries, including Kenya. And we have heard about it. Now, where are we coming from as GVRC, even when we give the country statistics? Normally, as GVRC now in those counties that I have mentioned, we provide services normally, in normal cases, to new survivors around 250 per month. That is inclusive of follow-up, meaning those who come to our facilities as new cases every month is between 250 and 300. However, in the month of March, when the curfew and lockdown and restrictions were announced by Mutahi Kagwe, we found that 363 cases of gender-based violence were reported. And you can see a huge increase from 250 and 281 in February to 363. I will now be showing you in my presentation the nature of these cases. Unfortunately, again, in April, the cases have gone down to 272, and we are all understanding that some are not able to travel to come to our centers. So that's why maybe there's a decrease this month, the month of April. Let's see how the cases looked like. If you look at January, and I know I was requested to talk about domestic violence. In my slide in January, domestic violence is what I'm calling physical assault. In January, we had 64 cases. of physical assault. However, defilement, that is defilement of, that is rape for children, is always the highest. You can see we had 110 cases. Other than the others are low, and then rape is for adults. So where you see rape, those are adults who were raped in January, they were 63. But physical assault, that is domestic violence, those who reported in January were 64. For children, because they're always the highest, they were, they were 64, they were 110. Let's move to February. Again, defilement went down to 99, but physical assault, that is domestic violence, went up to 77. Again, rape was stagnant, was 63. Now, the month of March, those who are able to see, you can see again, it is shot up to 363 cases, meaning there was a lot of couple fighting, and the highest, only that I couldn't do all that, but I have all the statistics, 90% are women. Even in this defilement for young girls, 90% are young girls. Again, in the month of April, which is not here, the highest cases that we received last month were domestic violence. Again, it was high, with only, I think, 3 men reporting. But now the uniqueness of this month of April, a lot of women, we've never seen such cases of where we had 50 women reporting, and I'm talking about across all our units, that is Nakuru, Nairobi, Kajiado, Mombasa, and Meru. We saw a lot of women, and they're spread across, reporting on psychological abuse. And we all know there was no physical hit, so they were not treated, they only came for counseling. I hope we are able to get up to that. So GBV, now with all these statistics, now you are able now to say, or you can tell where we are as a country. And the fact that even cases went down in the month of February, the trends that we have watched in this first week of May, we may go back to beyond 300 and something, or to 400. Now you can imagine our counselors and we call them our frontline soldiers. Now these are the people now who come to the facility every day. Now we have a problem, because once you are treated, you get first aid counseling. You're supposed to come back. We have a whole therapy session. You're supposed to come for 10 sessions, but now follow-up has declined. So once they are treated and they get the initial counseling, we have seen again decline for them coming back for counseling. And that is where now I want to jog our mind. What will happen? These children, we have support groups for them, very well functional support groups. They're not coming. They're not able to come. We're not able to give them. So we are relying on online therapy, which we started just the other day. We are still figuring out how it's going to work. But you can now see the trauma now which will be with all these children and adults after we finish, after the COVID goes and all that. So we may have different problems. So that's about GBV. So all those people who reported, it was about the act of power, anger, dominance, and all that. And again, sex is a weapon used to gain control and power imbalance. Again, like I have said from the statistics, women and girls are the majority. They are the most vulnerable. Again, why do we have a lot of defilement? Because schools are closed. Kids are, and no one is taking care of them. And so that is, last week we had cases of boys who gang raped each other. So this is a new trend we are trying to learn. and to deal with it. So when schools are closed and all these, there is a lot of shift of new trends that now we are witnessing. Before now I go to pandemic, I want to ask you as we take a 5-minute break. You can ask about Nairobi Women's, GVRC, and the statistics that I have presented. I want, as we go for break, we think, is pandemic fueling GBV, or GBV has been in existence? So I want to open Helen. We go back, you can ask any question, and as we think now, as we see those cases rising, is it that the pandemic is fueling or the cases were there? Thank you, Helen.
Thank you, Becky. You've caught me. I'm processing my feelings. I have seen what you showed me, and I'm really shocked, to be honest. I'm very, it's sad to see what is happening in our country. And I think I'll open to anyone to say something. Margaret, your microphone is on. Do you want to say something, Margaret?
Yes, I'm saying, hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm saying domestic violence has been there. It's only that it has been going unnoticed, especially, mostly it depends on the cultural aspects. Because I can say maybe from the place I come from, the cultural background, depending on the tribe, I'm sorry to say, it is believed that, for example, if there's a disagreement within the family, if you hear a woman being beaten, you are not supposed to go for rescue, and a woman is not supposed to go and report. And due to that, most of the people have been suffering. But nowadays, most people are enlightened and they're able to report out. But previously, they used to have fear about reporting, that if I report, what will happen? Will I go back to my marriage? Because it is believed culturally that once you are married, your bed is taken away from your home, and you are taken to the other side. So if you break your marriage, or you go tell people that your husband is beating you up or mishandling you, what is going to happen? It means that you will embarrass your husband and will not go back to your marriage. So they have been there, is only that they have not been reporting, but now they are being reported.
Okay, thank you for that, Margaret. Kindly mute yourself. I'm seeing Richard, your hand is up. And as Richard comes in to give his comment, Becky, maybe you can tell us, are there certain trends you've seen across the various cultures or counties? I don't know how to bring it out without stereotyping, but just to know, are there trends, as Margaret has said, that are more towards particular cultures? Yes.
Okay. Would you like I answer now, or we wait for people, then I can answer later?
Okay, I think you can answer later. I see Richard, your hand is up. Richard, go ahead.
Yes, good evening again.
Good evening to you.
Yes, GBV has been there with us, and I come to realize that the pandemic is now failing it. How does it fail it? It fails it because you realize that during this pandemic of COVID-19, there are those people who have lost their jobs. There are those whom their salaries has been cut, and there are those who have been told to work from home. So you realize that lifestyle might sometimes change because job is no longer there, or the salary has been cut, meaning you have to revise your lifestyle. And again, this idea of working from home, you are there, now is the right time, you guys are understanding one another. And sometimes you feel like you see most of the opposite side of your colleague or children. So to me, I feel that the pandemic is really failing SGBV, and that's why when you check even the statistics, you realize that when we started, the first time the COVID-19 case was identified in Kenya, that is around 13th of March. You realize the statistics have been going up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Richard. And finally, the last one for now, Grace Kikuvi, go ahead. Grace Kikuvi, I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, what I'm saying.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, what I'm saying is that I feel the pandemic has fueled the whole thing because of psychological distress. That people are looking for a way to vent out. Because the whole thing has brought out a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety. And then I'm looking at these young people, the adolescents, they have a lot of strength, a lot of energy, and they have nowhere to vent out that energy. So they have to look at an alternative so that they are able to vent out. And also the issue of control, because right now, many people feel like they are not in control. So maybe they would turn to sexual abuse just as a matter of control. Thanks.
Wow, true.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Becky, you can go ahead.
Okay, I thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. And it's true, I want to concur with all those who are saying, for sure, GBV has been there, but now there is more fuel because I don't know, someone had said high levels of stress, there is psychological distress, meaning maybe it has been like that, but it has been quiet. But I like the person who talked about, now we know what to do. Like I started by saying, other than treatment, we also have the prevention arm. It's a whole docket. And so as we create awareness, believe you me, cases go high. Not that when we create awareness, people are fighting, but now people know what to do. So they kind of report. So cases were there, but people are knowing what to do. Now, Helen, you asked me to share. Do we see some cultural related trends? This is yes. I may not pin any culture, but believe you me, all of us have different ways on how we solve our issues. You'll go to some cultures. There's some cultures where we tried even to have a discussion with elders in a way of, or in an aspect of prevention. And they were shocked that a woman can report when they are beaten. And they were really, and these are the elders. And they were asking, how? And a woman should be disciplined. Why would you? Because that is their culture. And you can imagine now changing the mindset of such culture. We also have cultures still now in the 21st century that still believes that if you sleep, because ask yourself, why do we have so many young children who are defiled? If I had time to show you guys statistics, we have children below the age of 5 years who are defiled. Why? Because we still have some people who believe that if they would sleep with a young girl, if they are HIV, they would be healed. So culture has a lot to do, actually is a contributing factor to GBV. So let's all agree that culture is a contributing factor to GBV. So there I am. We talked of fueling and we asked each other, could there be, were the GBV, were they still there? And we have all agreed that this is not a new thing. The thing here is, and you have all said, high levels of stress. And before I do this presentation, what happens and how we deal with our how we deal with our burnout as especially as the frontline workers, because we are still working, we are still serving the society. and there's a lot of anxiety in the country, and yet we are dealing with a lot of trauma. So every Thursday in the afternoon, nowadays we are having Skype meetings and Skype debriefing. And yesterday we were looking at personalities and how would personalities cause conflict. And I remember there was such a discussion in this forum. And one of the things that we realized is that imagine an introvert and an extrovert, now they are locked in the same house and they are couples and they have never spent time together. And this is the guy who doesn't want to talk. And here I am, the wife who wants to ask question, why can't you help me with laundry? Why can't you do this? And you can imagine also an introvert, what will happen. So with all that, it will be a source of domestic violence. And whenever there is domestic violence, also the children are affected. We have a support group where we deal with children who are coming from families that, the women who have reported of domestic violence. So we have a support group for their children. And the trauma with those children is high because they are witnessing domestic violence in their houses. So there's something that I want to show all of us. I call it the cycle of violence. And probably this will help us see why survivors don't live and imagine during this pandemic. So I'm going to start with that cycle. Hello.
Rose Mbai, kindly mute yourself. Rose Mbai, please mute yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, if you mute, because I'll also open it up, we'll have time to talk. Now, this is a cycle of violence. And I'll start with where I hope everyone can see. Helen, you can see that cycle?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, meaning everyone can see. So I'm going to start with the honeymoon. Honeymoon, all of us, okay, sorry for generalizing, but couples, at one point, you have found yourself or they have found themselves in honeymoon. Honeymoon does not mean that we have gone to Naivasha. I'm talking about that period where things are on top of, you are on top of the game. This is where you call each other sweetheart, bye. This is where kikula chakula, hata unapewa na kijiko. You understand when you're on top of game, Even sexual activities are just out of this world, because nothing, and couples have those moments, but those moments don't last long. I don't think there is a couple I've dealt with that they have stayed in honeymoon because we have different personalities. I mean, this is life. So we go back to routine, and going back to routine does not mean that we have any issues with each other. We are saying we are surviving, we are happy, we are not fighting, and things are okay. Now, unfortunately, tension comes. Let's look at the pandemic. We are in tension. And somebody, I don't know whether it's that guy from Mel, somebody has said, I've lost a job, or we've gone on a pay cut. So many things have been brought by this pandemic. And so tension is high. But now these guys who are in honeymoon and routine, if they are grounded during tension, they are able to negotiate and to go through their issues. They are able to deal with them. They are able to solve it amicably, because in each and every relationship, whether it is at work, there at a time when two people are dealing with each other, there will always be a tension. And now, trigger dio sasa. Again, how we dealt with it at a tension level and a trigger level will determine whether an abuse will happen. A strong family will deal with it. Now we are in a trigger. A strong family now during the trigger maybe would agree we may even move to a house that is within our pocket. I mean, a strong family would be able to know how to sail through. They'll be able to discuss, now I'm not working, now we are in a lockdown. Are there duties that we can help each other? We have children. a strong family will be able to negotiate through this during this pandemic. Now, if there are issues from the tension level, an abuse will occur. And this is how it occurs. It starts maybe with a psychological abuse, you know, matusi, nini. And then, allow me to use women, but the fact that everyone can be abused. Women, maybe the psychology of women, when we are told sorry, you know, those excuses, we coin back very fast. And so this person who abused me will use an excuse. And the excuse is always, if you did not do this, I would not have done this. If I was not drunk, I would not have done that. If you never looked at me badly, I will not. So the excuse is not that I am owning what I did. The excuse is I'm still blaming you, but I want we go on. So remember, I never owned up what I did. I'm only trying to look for a way so that tomorrow I can do it. And majority, and I'll talk from my organization point of view, majority of the survivors that we deal with, most of them will give excuses. I was either drunk, shetani aliniingilia, you know, all those excuses. Mimi ni mtu wa kukasirika haraka, you know, I am a short-tempered, I am. And so as you deal with the women, this is what they also come telling you. You know, if my husband was not drunk, he would not have done this. If my husband, so again, we tend to take the abuse and the blame, and we believe we were the mistake, the person who have been abused. And so you can see now, after the excuse, like I said, I'm just using an example of women. When we coin down, we are taken back to honeymoon, and things are on top of the game. And we are always on top of this game. And so from the honeymoon, unfortunately, when we get here, the honeymoon doesn't last long. Then we go to routine, then tension, then there is a trigger, and abuse. And I know you all ask yourself, because you see some of the pictures or some of the women who come to report to our hospital and they are aired by the media, wamekatwa miguu, wamekatwa mikono. So the abuser doesn't start by cutting your hands or your legs. Doesn't do that. It starts with this cycle. So one day, something big will happen. Now we are in this pandemic now, and we have been in this cycle. You can imagine now what is happening, and we have been in this cycle previously, and was not this big trigger like the way it has happened now. So that is why this is what is answering our question, why? Because why are we having a high number? And I like the way you all said it was there. Yes, you can see this is not anything new, but now the triggers, we were hiding ourselves under excuses, but now probably even money to go and drink to hide myself, even to get out to go and see my boys to hide myself, even to go for a drive and all that. Hakuna pesa, hakuna mahali ya kwenda. So the trigger is high. So we may not be able to go to honeymoon. We may not even do excuse. So we may now stay in the abuse. Now you can imagine the mess that is at home. It is, excuse me, it's such a chaotic, and I think that is why March numbers went high. And even April, the highest number we've never seen, because our highest survivors are from sexual violence, but this time our highest are from domestic violence. Why? Because now I have answered the question. Now I want to say something, and when I say this, I want to do a disclaimer that I'm not pinning that abuse only occurs at a certain level or class of people. Now, another trend that we have witnessed is that now we are seeing a higher level okay, I don't know how to put it, well educated, I mean, women from upmarket, because majority were women from, you understand, low level. Again, maybe they were in this, but because this is too much, they had to, they want to come, they want to go look for help. Yesterday, we launched our toll-free line, and we didn't launch, we got it the day before yesterday, a toll-free line. And so we started sending it in our WhatsApp. We have not even launched it. And we sent it around 1:30. So it was up only by 2. And from yesterday to today, including now, because we are like 4 people with hunting lines, we have recorded 35 cases of women calling. To an extent, today we had to sit down and think, do we need a full-time staff on this? Because we thought we were trying. So when we talk about abuse is there. And some are just calling to ask, what can I do? I am in this, I cannot, we don't have safe shelters. So this is what is happening. And I hope you've been able to see my cycle. If you see where there is, I've done some yellow. Sometimes victim or the person who is being abused becomes, or we all know they are dependent with the perpetrator. Now we are in pandemic. Where would you go? Maybe you are among those who are laid off and the perpetrator is your husband. So sometimes women are not condoning, or the victims are not condoning abuse, but now they are dependent. So as psychologists, how do we help these people? Remember, when you look at all these, and I ask people now, how do we help someone who is dependent on a perpetrator? Yet, currently where we are because of pandemic, we don't have safe houses right now. We don't, this one can't go to their fathers. They can't go back home. I can't even travel to my sister's place. Can you see the chaotic? And that's why maybe we'll discuss about online therapy. How are we going to market ourselves as counselors? Can we give back to the community now, right now? Can we give back by even opening up our lines for support, like those cases that we have dealt with since yesterday? Some they don't even need treatment, some don't even need food. There are those who ask for food, but we are trying even to analyze, and I was telling my colleague, analyze for me those who just need psychological support. And it was amazing, those who need psychological support because they don't know what to do. So what do we do? So before, I wanted we watch a small clip we had done, but it was not possible. We tried with Helen to watch, but it's not possible. So what do we do the next steps as psychologists? But before we go to next steps, I want just to give us 5 minutes to look, to internalize and reflect on what I've just shared. Helen?
Thank you, Becky, for that. It's a wonderful presentation. I'm internalizing as well, so I open it up to anyone to say something. Richard, go ahead. Okay, Richard has gone. I'm seeing in the chat section, somebody is asking, okay, there was a question and a comment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, about when are the children defiled, and the people who are doing this, they are staying with them, they are living with them. And so someone is saying, let's assume that it's an uncle who is locked down in your home. How will he prey on the child? Majority are at home. Where would you be, or your husband, or us? So the children, the issue of defilement was very high. So people are wondering, where are the guardians when these children are being defiled? Yes.
Okay. Now, like I said, and we all know, because I know we are psychologists, that children will always be defiled by people who are very close to them. 90%, and I'm talking from factual and statistics, 90% of our survivors' children are defiled by people who are very close to them. And this close to them, the highest statistics from, remember, I am not speaking on a national statistics, but I said it could represent. The highest in our statistics are the stepdads. You see, because one of the things that we do is when I get married with my children, sometimes as a woman, I go into that marriage very vulnerable, very warrior. And so I look like nimehurumiwa na nimeenda na watoto wangu watatu. And so this guy, we have seen them, they argue this is not my child, so I can sleep with them. And we have seen women even hiding because they are dependent to the perpetrator, the watchmen, the teachers. Now, what is happening is cousin to cousins. So we need to educate our people in the spaces that we are. Families, you know, families. Somebody talked of, there's somebody who talked about adolescents. Adolescents, again, they are defiling the younger children. So children have been left unmanned and unprotected. And let's all agree that even children are affected. Sorry, I forgot to say this. They are affected by this lockdown the way we are affected as adults. They were used to schedule, they were used to program. There's no program anymore. Let's be frank, even at home, we are struggling with our children and program. And so they have started trying also to cope. How are they coping? They are coping with pornography, they are coping with social media, they are coping, and so they are arousing their sexual emotions. And so when this child is sent, and I'm talking about real life stories, when they are sent to the shop, especially in those congested areas, you find that child, not that she knows or she wanted, ameguswa tu kidogo na hapo nyuma ya duka, and she doesn't know, the body has just reacted, and she doesn't even understand what is happening. Kidogo kidogo tu defiled. Hata ye mwenyewe, but there were some emotions inside them. Others don't know what is happening. Others are their own biological fathers. Maybe when we get another time, I'll be presenting the analysis of the perpetrators, because we take all the data. So currently what is happening, our children are not in school, and so they are unmanned, and so they are being defiled by people who are with them. You know, those people that you live with, those people that live in your house, the watchman in the neighborhood, the gang boys who are just there. So that is how why kids are being defiled, right, left, center. Wangoi?
Go ahead. I think we can continue, Becky. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. All right. We've looked at why survivors don't live. And so we are asking ourselves, so what's the next step? Especially on follow-up, especially on these women who, and men, sorry, and adolescents who need support. We've started, like I said, online therapy because there is restriction of movement. Even for them coming to the health facilities, again, it's very expensive. That's why I said in a month, maybe we have follow-up of 300 survivors. But now, like last month, I think only 75 people came, or 70 something. I may not have actual, but there were less than 100 who came back for follow-up, for counseling. And that is what informed us that we may be dropping the ball, we may be giving medical treatment, but now we are not addressing the issue of trauma. So we are trying to talk to our donors and everyone to see how do we work around online therapy. And so we have tried. So there are principles that we have seen that are trying to work. One of the principles is the free. We were using the hospital. Initially, we were using the hospital call center. The call center, maybe probably for us, we are at another level because we were using the call center calling, which again was very expensive. So that's how we've come up with an online. So how did you used to do it? One, when you're talking to survivors online, remember these are people who have gone through a lot of trauma. Remember, GBV is about power. Remember, GBV is that you've been undressed. So you no longer believe in yourself. I tell people, look at this woman, that her whole human in her has been tampered with. Look at this young girl. So believing is in themselves is no here, no there because of what has happened to their life. So the best thing when you're using online therapy is, first of all, and I know we know this, you active listen using the empathy statement. Don't wait to talk. They may not say anything, but that silence means everything. Again, paraphrase and reflect back because these are survivors who are in danger. Try to bring them, promote self-determination to restore the survivor's serenity or sanity. And again, summarize and assure the survivor that you have understood what they have said. And I know this we have learned well in class, but dealing with the survivor comes with many dynamics because sometimes they even don't want to talk. Remember, a survivor doesn't want to talk about my husband is beating me. Maybe they call and they start giving you a story of I fell in the bathroom. Or like yesterday, I got a call and because, again, remember, because of maybe the one calling you still have a class, but feeling they need help. So they'll take you there. Oh, what do you do when your sister is going through this? So survivors sometimes shy away to dance naked. So you have really to listen and active listen. As you paraphrase, you realize when they are talking about themselves, but they are meaning they're talking about themselves, but of course they are giving you a story of somebody else. So GBV survivor will call you, and that's why I said maybe some of us are getting these calls. They may be in an active danger. An active danger, what I mean by active danger is that maybe she's just in the house and the abuser is there. Okay? All for sure they are seeking help for a relative or for a friend. So what do you need to do? First of all, make sure that you know private space or a private phone. Okay? The other thing, do you have a referral pathway? What I mean by this, you need to know where are services. So currently, how we are helping them, because if it's safe spaces, I said they are not working at all. They are not functional. And of course, we can't bring them to the hospital. So we have mapped up, and I'm sure like today, there was that article of Kilimani. We have teamed with the police stations, and we have requested them, sorry, we have requested them to kindly to allow us to be sending women to them to see whether they can give them safety. Because that's the only thing we can do for now. So you need to ask them, where do you think you can go? Where do you think, because why are you asking this? Sometimes because they are in an active danger or because of the trauma, they are not able to think. I asked a client yesterday in Mombasa, what else can you do? Because now you are saying your husband has said, asikupate nyumbani. Unafikiria, akikupata atafanya nini? And then they are saying, akinipata ataniua. Unajua amekuwa akifanya hivi, na alisema ataniua, lakini sasa nimeona ataniua. And so we went and I asked, unaweza enda wapi? And then she realized, kwa chief ni karibu na yeye. And I said, why don't you go and get safe and tell the chief what is happening and see what the chief can do? Because during this pandemic, all of us are trying to help. And that's why authorities are being urged by Mutahi Kagwe to be extra vigilant and even to give some support. So at this time, do you know even of maybe a hospital that can provide ambulance services and all that? You can also call people who are offering services. Lakini musinipigie, we don't have a safe space currently. Even as we are struggling, we are hustling with other partners when we have those delicate cases. Hello? So do a safety check for them. So when you're calling them, remember now we are using online therapy. Greet and comfort them. Establish a safety of location. Then it's good to assess level of risk. And you can provide safety advice like what I said yesterday. But don't promise anything you cannot do. Remember, these people are traumatized. We all know what trauma do to our mind. So when you tell them, I will help, you make them stop thinking and depend on you. So the good thing is to push them to think, push them to look for safety, and let them know currently we don't have shelters. And the shelters that we have are very few. Like for us, the shelters we know are very few for children. And we are even trying to work with the government. So don't promise anything. But the help you can do for now is you push and a call. A call is doing great things, and even check. And I know and I understand we may not have airtime and all that, but for those who are working in an organization, it's time now we relocate our funds to what we wanted to do, and then we relocate them to online. I think that can help organizations, and that's what we encourage organizations to relocate fundings, because I'm sure maybe we had fundings for 1, 2, 3. So we relocate our fundings. For those who need to talk to their donor, they're very open. The donors are very open now. If you tell them you want to move funds from this area to this area, if it's possible. If it's not possible, I don't know, try to the other maybe thing you can do, your nearest administration police, your nearest, and I'm telling you, days are gone when we were saying police don't support. I am a witness, they support. We've been working with them this journey, and even now, I think I'll send something in this group, and you'll see it's working, and it's working for us. There's something I'm going to send now in that group, and working with Kirimani, for me, it has been wonderful. I've sent something in the group. So it's working. So try and see if you can work with the authorities that are near you if you want to help. But if you don't know how to help, don't start. It's okay. Because again, sometimes as counselors, we feel like we want to support everyone, but it's okay. Now, like I said, we need to push them. Just remind her, sorry, I'm using her for our male who are in this group. Allow me to use her because I said 90% of our survivors are women and girls, or I think 95 or 94 are women and girls. And again, during the pandemic and during any crisis, I'm talking about crisis because we have supported different crises. We have been able to support during the PEF, post-election violence, the Tana Delta. So we can tell you women and girls are always affected. Whenever there is issues in the country, even when there's elections, we try to align ourselves. You will see those people who are looking for help are women and girls. So when I use her, it could be justified and not justified. So when you're pushing them, push her to remind that she knows her situation best. You don't know it. So when they are calling you and telling you they are in danger, they may know what to do. They may know a neighbor where they can go. So the only thing they are looking is just a listening ear for someone to help. help her identify a safest room in her home. You know, ako nyumbani, and I'm sure some it's only one room, some are big rooms. So you need to ask all those questions. Again, these are people with children where applicable. Help them even to plan to make sure that their children are safe. Like I said, you may be able to identify a support system or resources that you know it can go greater way. Also make sure that she has planned in case she needs to leave. Because of course, all of them will call you telling you, I am leaving. But where are they leaving to? Because we have realized, and that's why we have, we used to do counseling, we used to offer group therapy, and we used to have very nice graduations after the 10th session. That is every year we do graduations for our survivors, taking them back to the society. But we realized they were coming back to us. Why? Because they didn't have, yes, psychologically they are well, but they are going back to the abusive environment. So the question is, what is the plan? So what we did, we included economic empowerment as part of the safety planning, such that now they are aware what to do. Helen, am I using more of my hands? You know, I'm thinking I'm in a training, I'm in a training room. Anyway,
I'm really concentrating on the on the presentation and the chat box.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
So that's okay. Make sure that they have a plan when they decide to leave.
You are doing well, Becky.
Thank you. You know, I'm used to train, so I may use a lot of so many hands in. Thank you. So up to that of safety planning, can we just take a 5-minute break and we contribute to what I've said? Thank you, Helen.
Welcome, Becky. I must confess, somebody here has distracted us, and I think she will be the one to respond. What is your name? Marion Kainama. How are you?
That's my friend.
Good. Marion, please, you really made us to respond to you.
Yes, please. Yes.
What are you asking me, Helen?
Go ahead and give your input on what you have learned so far in the session.
Oh, what I've learned?
Yes.
So many. Is escalating GBV, gender-based violence or domestic violence.
Thank you.
Have lost control, most of them, so now they don't know where to project, and they're projecting on those in the house. Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Becky. It's good to see you.
Marion, I am so excited. I used to work with Marion in the same organization here at GVRC and Rebecca Wanyonyi, so they're understanding what they are saying. Marion opened doors for me when I joined GVRC.
Yeah, Helen, that's why the excitement, because we are being distracted by the too many chats, and Becky is really presenting something that is really coming from her. Can we really minimize these chats?
Okay.
Oh my, okay. Okay, Lois, thank you for the feedback. I don't know how to respond to that, to be honest. Let me be genuine. Becky, help me out there.
I can't see the chats.
The idea of the chat is that the chat is allowing us to be able to ask questions, because you can't do that when Becky is presenting. So the chat allows us to be able to raise questions about areas you don't maybe understand or use clarification. So it is allowed, it is open. What you can do, you can ignore the chat from your end.
Hello, Helen.
Hello, Dr. Susan,
Helen?
welcome.
Hello, Helen.
Hello, karibu.
Thank you. Hi, Becky.
Hi, how are you?
Asante sana, nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Helen.
I had to come for your meeting. I tried, I waited. I think there were so many people waiting to join.
Yeah.
I just wonder, you have very beautiful presentation.
Yes.
And I see somewhere that you will not share these slides with people. Is there a very good reason for that? Maybe for us, we are also messing by sharing our PowerPoint presentation every time we do it. Is there a very good reason for that?
I had said, and we had a discussion with Helen. You see, for me, I came as a guest representing the organization. I asked Helen if the information she can share, the information, if she can be able to change the information from the brand, from our brand, that is Nairobi Women and GVRC. The information, I can give a lot of information. I have a lot of information, but you understand, Susan. This is Susan, right?
I know. This is Susan.
Yeah, Susan, you understand? Becky. Yeah, thank you. You understand the protecting the brand.
Let me mute my mic.
Okay. So you understand, you may find someone doing the same presentation with our logo, but information I can give, and we agreed with Helen, if you give me time, I can remove the logo. But if Helen can do that, because I sent a presentation, Helen has a presentation. If she is able to remove and give the whole information, I have no problem. Is that okay, guys?
Yes.
Yes, that's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It is safer to keep it the way
Becky, Becky.
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
I hear you very well. I think don't be shy to let people know when they present somebody else's information. It's good to say, and this information was given by so and so. I guess it's just a matter of ethics. And that is why these days there are people who will remove your work from PDF. Like I have seen Dr. Jogona in the meeting. I have seen Honorable Gidongo also in the meeting. And you know, we have MHPSS, PFA trainings. So it's good to know also from them, because they are in here. If they want as many people to be reached, should people share that information, or they should keep it to themselves, you know? I hear you, Becky, and I believe Helen, because she's a very active girl, she can remove all this, but it's always good to say this work came from the Nairobi Women's Hospital and GVRC. It's good to acknowledge that it's actually your information. Thank you, Becky. I love you.
Thank you, love you. Yeah, for all those who would like, we have a whole library of our information. So I will not shy away to give you information, but I like the way you're saying it's good to acknowledge, just like the way we give it to the media. And I'm sure you see it all over in the TV. And one of the things, we have a contract with them. They have to acknowledge that their data, and that's why you see CS when he's saying the data has come from Nairobi Women's Hospital, GVRC. So if we are authentic enough to say that, I may not have a problem. But again, I wouldn't like to see someone presenting with our logo, but information, you are free to use the information. We are good.
Thank you for that, Becky. I had told people to kindly allow me not to share the presentation today. Okay, I will work on it and I will put in the group after after editing it. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we can proceed from there.
Yeah. If you remove the logo, I have no problem. Okay. So guys, you see, I'm still in the office. That's how we want really to see whether we can reduce these cases. So this is real. It's real. The issues of GBV. And what is more real is the issue of psychological support. The reason why we are here and the reason why I'm creating this awareness is we ask ourselves, how are we going to use the online support? How are we going to leverage on technology? Again, something that is very tricky that has challenged us, and I'm sharing this because I know you will go there and now think, how do you go about it? Is most of these survivors, again, that we want to reach out online, don't have smartphones. So that again informed us why we need to have a toll-free number. Because what we used to do, we could make some e-flyers on do's and don'ts and send out there. But we realize it's not getting to the survivors that we want them to get. They couldn't get it because they don't. So even as you think on online support to the survivors of domestic and gender-based violence, you need to think. So the other thing maybe it's still under online that is also helping us, and we started today, is a mass SMS. So in our support group, so we, other than the toll-free, then we were given the mass SMS. So we have the numbers of the survivors that are in a certain group. So if you're in our adolescents support group, if you are in our domestic violence, Marion would remember our Fadhili group, it's still now very big. If you're in a Fadhili, that is domestic violence group, now we have your numbers. So every week we are sending you message. Now the tricky bit here is all our messages were in English. Majority of our survivors, from the analysis, is they can't understand English. You don't know how difficult it is to coin TFCBT in Swahili, because it's a stage. These are 10-stage therapy that we all use. It's a tailor-made for GVRC. Now, step by step, what you do when you come the first meeting, the second meeting. Now we have gone back to drawing board, and we are trying to use in Swahili, localize it in Swahili, which up to date, we've not been able to get it very well. So those are, I'm sharing these because I know those are some of the things that you need to think. And I'm happy, I hear Gidongo is here and KCPA. These are some of the things, maybe KCPA, Susan, everyone who is in this space, you'd like to think at a national level. Would we have messages that we can send to people out there because of the psychological distress we are talking about? And here we are talking about prevention. We need now to deal with prevention. Do we look at messages that are localized in vernacular, including our mother tongue? What are we going to do? So that is just an eye opener for all of us that we need to think about. So those are some of the things that we are doing to support survivors, especially now that we've realized that coming back for follow-up is a challenge for them. And we don't know for how long the pandemic will be with us. So how do you end the call? Remember, we are still on online therapy and call and all that. How do you end the call? It's good to give them option, especially immediate concerns, you know? Referral. Let me tell you, if there is something that has become difficult, is to refer. Referral has become very difficult, and I've tried to read different organizations. They have talked about, we have very nice referral pathway booklets. We're even coming up with one. But the question is, where are we referring them to? Where are you referring them to? Like I said, let's work with the close authorities that are near us. Some, they don't need even authority, some need food. How are you going to help them? Now, in cases of the children who have been defiled, again, I forgot to say, again, that's another challenge, because how do you support them? We use art and play therapy. We have suspended our art and play therapy approach, because again, because we use dolls, we use toys. Those could be ways of, those could be other ways of spreading COVID. So when one child takes a doll, so we have to suspend all such approaches. Now, how do we support these children? Again, a challenge there. So those are some of the things. And if you look at all those online materials that are there, they're not fitting our children. And from the statistics I've shown you, if we can do this next month, I show you again the statistics of the month of April and May, you'll be shocked. So the question is, how will we support these people? Also, share key messages, affirm them. Remember what I talked about in the cycle of violence. In most cases, not in most cases, 90% of survivors believe it is their fault. Because they have taken the blame for so long, they believe for sure, if I didn't do this, I would not have been abused by my husband. If I went home early, I would not have been raped. If. And so you have now, as you're calling them, as you're supporting them online, make sure that you make sure that you want to deconstruct that thinking, that approach. Because as you as you help them to start thinking in a rational way, they will even think for safety plans. The reason why they are not able to think for safety plans and where to go and what to do, because they're thinking in an irrational way. So they have taken the blame. They have believed that if I was not married, if I didn't have these children, my husband, who is the stepfather of these children, will not be sleeping with them. So you can imagine that is the discussion. You're sitting down with a survivor and they're comfortably telling you, lakini si unajua hao si watoto wake, mimi sitaki hii case iende mbele, as they have believed. One, they don't believe this is a criminal. So you can imagine all that. Even as they call you for help, wanataka tu wasikie utasema nini, but they know what they need to do. So you only need to support them. Okay? Remind them to delete signs of call from their phone, and I know you all know all this. Now, why we are talking about the referral system. I just wanted to show you how a referral system looks like. Some is workable at the moment. For sexual abuse, we have no choice. You have to make sure that they go to the nearest hospital. So that is the best offer you can give them. And we have talked to the different authorities, and whether it is at night, whether they are around to travel. But now the challenge here is, in many government hospitals, we were trying to do a spot check. All their energy have been concentrated on COVID-19. So they are not even thinking about these survivors. So how many survivors are going to turn to be HIV? So it is our work to keep telling them to go to the hospital. And again, we are reminding the government, we are pushing them that they also have to remember that we also have survivors of domestic violence and survivors of sexual and gender-based violence who needs to be supported. Because how many would Nairobi women support is it now? Very few who are in the environment, maybe of Kitengela, Kajiado, those who can access Nairobi, those who can access Meru, those who can access Naivasha, maybe Nakuru. What about the rest? Who is going to help them? So we need also to push the government. And I'm happy KCPA is here. It is time we push the government also to think about those survivors, because they need to be treated. A survivor goes maybe to a county hospital, there's no swab, because all the swabs now have been given to, they are being kept for COVID-19. What about our survivors? It's not our, what about the survivors? We need to think about it. So that's how the referral system looks like. So when we talk about the referral system, where are we in this forum of psychologists? We are here in the psychosocial support. And as you look at my circle, all of us can help this survivor in one way or the other. So we have a lot of work to do. Currently, again, the legal aid is a challenge, but we are registering those cases with the authorities. And so I know Maranga is trying to look at ways that we can see how to work around them. But you can imagine we go to court every day because we do access to justice. Every day we have a doctor who his work is to go and do expert witness. The whole of March, we still have all our PLC here. We still have all our pending cases. We don't work with IOs because now there is no case. The cases are very slow. Sometimes, yes, the doctor will be called to witness 1 or 2, but in a week, maybe we have 5 or 6 or 7 cases, but now there's no legal aid. So the only thing that now we are concentrating is medical treatment and psychosocial support. And then the community, what can the community do? And we are part of the community, even as psychosocial support services. We are part of the community. What can we do? So I guess the reason we are in this forum is to ask ourselves, what can we do? What help can we do? What help can we offer during, and all these have been brought by psychological distress that is there in the country. I don't know whether there is anything I have left. I will leave it there, waiting for the next presentation, which I don't know when. And I want to say thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Becky. You know, I'm already hearing the wows in the background. Thank you so much. That was awesome. That was a wonderful presentation. Very informative. The facts are astounding. And I'm seeing hands are raised. My goodness, Anastasia, Richard, I see your hands. I'm coming to you shortly. But it's something I've seen in the chat. Someone has commented or asked, do you think we have a domestic violence? I think stroke defilement, because defilement is very high. Do you think we have a crisis in that area?
Sorry, I didn't get your question. Come again.
Somebody is asking in the chat section, do we have a crisis with regard to domestic violence? And I think also defilement, because it's very, very high according to what you've shown us.
I would say the crisis we have is psychological distress. For me, if you ask me, the crisis we have currently is psychological distress. Because once we are sober, we'll be, remember the cycle that I have shown all of us. If that cycle, we will be, because one way or the other, we will fight as couples. Not fight, there will be tension as couples. So when we are sober, we are able to negotiate in a good manner. So I think that what we have currently, the crisis, for me, if I'm asked, is the psychological distress. If we are able to arrest the psychological distress that is in the country, because one way or the other, whether we like it or not, we are in a crisis, right? So we need to teach our people how to deal with crisis. We have lost jobs. We have, I think for me, from where I'm sitting, I'm thinking we need to teach our people on how to respond to crisis. I had someone, I think it's Marion or it's Dr. Susan, who was saying, now they're venting. We need to know, where do we vent our anger? Where do we vent our stress? Do we vent it among the spouses? Do we vent it by defiling children? Remember, it's about power. Where do we vent?
Wow, thank you for that, Becky. Thank you. I don't know what else to say. I've learned a lot as well. I feel like I was in an extremely interesting class and colorful presentations. Okay, I'm seeing hands raised. So Anastasia Kihuaga, you are first. Then we will have Richard Ochiengo next.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I am happy. Yes, I'm happy. That was a very powerful presentation, Dr. Becky. We appreciate for the information. I have learned a lot. I wanted to inquire about the informal settlement, whereby there is nothing, there is what we call the secrets, the family secrets, and it's like you should not talk about it. You should not talk about it because what would you tell people when you come back after you've said about it? So those secrets that you keep, whereby it's okay, the stigma that is associated by being abused and you're also going back to the same community. So some people resolve to keeping quiet as opposed to speaking out because of the stigma associated with the setup of the way we said about the location of abuse. And then number two, I wanted to ask, okay, it's very good we are empowering women and girls, but then is there a way we can get a platform to empower also the men so that they understand? Because empowering women and then going back to the place of abuse, sometimes it doesn't work so well because you're meeting the same people and they will still go back. And it's quite hectic having dealt with people in the informal settlement. They still go back to the abuse because they don't know how they can deal with such. So my question is, how can we also have platforms to empower the perpetrators or the abusers like the men? And also, as you've said, now when somebody says that they are needy, what are the ways? Is there a way that you can channel out the needs, the basic needs like food, and then the rescue in case it's very bad? The rescue, how can we rescue already under struggle? Some have already been struggled and all that. How can we rescue them from start? Thank you. Back to Helen.
Thank you, Anastasia, for that. I think it's open for anyone to respond, but Becky, you can go ahead.
Okay, I like that it's open for everyone to respond, because one of the things that I've looked at this forum, and it's a learning forum. Like, I have learned a lot on personality, the emotional intelligence. There's a lot that we are learning in this forum, even as the helpers. So I guess this is an open forum for all of us. However, I want to start with empowering men. And there's a reason I've chosen why I know. Okay. Mute your mic. Okay. So from our statistics, whether it is the quarterly that I have shown or annually, for free, 90% are women. So what we did, as we started the organization, we were more dealing with response. Then we realized response is not working. We need to go out there and do prevention. We did prevention. Then we realized we have left a group behind, and this is a group of men. And for GBV, men have a very big role to play if we have to add GBV. And so what we did, we started a program that is very beautiful, and I'm happy to hear KCPA. It's a program I would like we can work together. It's called a male engagement. A male engagement is where we go sit down. Okay, I'm not part of the male engagement, it's my male colleagues, but it's an engagement that I have enjoyed. So they sit down with men, but I have gone one in interior of Kajiado, where we maybe provide goats and everything. They eat goats, like the Masai Moran, and they discuss issues to do with GBV. And so they are involved. So we have seen male engagement working, it's using a thief to catch a thief. And so that is a very good fabric that is working very well, working with male counterparts, even having the male champions, like Sakaja is one of our male champions, even going out there to talk about women issues. And so that is something we are doing. And again, what we are doing, and I'm happy we have some people here we have worked with, we have very many programs that we do in schools. Probably we don't do a lot in Nairobi, but in other counties, it's because we did a lot in Nairobi. In other counties, we work with the county government and the TSC. TSC is our biggest partner. So we work, and we have the Kings and Queens Club, where we are empowering the boy child and the girl child, because we want to work with the boys and the girls together. So we have a program, yes, but that is as GVRC. And I know what you're saying, that as a country, as in this forum, we have to believe that for us to address GBV, we have to bring men on board. Men have to discuss women issues. Men have to believe that with their women. Men have to be in it if we have to fight the GBV. So you're talking about rescue, and it's challenging right now. At an organization level, yes, we have been doing rescues, but now we are not able to carry out rescues because where do we take them? So we would do rescue and offer 48-hour shelter, and then they are
And again, I'm one of those people who are lucky. I'm in a response team within Nairobi Metropolitan Services. We are about 30, and we are responding to healthcare workers in terms of psychosocial support. Yes, I just wanted to build on what you said, that it's a time when we need to give back to the community.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah, we need to come up with online services. E-therapy, so that we be able to help clients without paying for anything. I remember us being 30, we were trained on psychological first aid. Yeah, this was supported by Red Cross, and we came with a call center where clients can be able to make calls, and these calls can be given to whoever is free among the 30, and we tackle clients' issues. And it has been working very well, though ours we are dealing very much with the healthcare workers, but we have opened it even to the general public. And I feel this online, the e-therapy has become very important during this time of COVID-19 pandemic. So mine is just to echo what you said, that as we leave this place or this meeting, let's embrace the e-therapy. Yeah, it works very well, so that we can be able to assist our clients, and let it be a CSR, just giving back. So that's what I wanted to say, Becky. It's a very, very good meeting. I'm so happy about it, and I believe I'll still be attending your trainings. And maybe I'll not talk again. I just wanted, because you accepted that you can give us the notes. Maybe is it that we give out the email addresses, or how are we going to get this notes? Maybe Ellen can say that. Thank you.
Just to ask, your online therapy, is it free? Do people call free?
Yes, people are calling free.
Okay. Also,
maybe I can share the number.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good.
Yeah, the number is 020.
No, you can put it in the group. It will be
okay, through the chat. I'll write it in the chat box.
Yeah, we are looking for all those who are able to help with free online services.
Yeah, I'll write in the chat box. It's just about the notes. They are very good notes, please. How are we going to get it? Maybe through the emails, or how is it? Because it's my first time to attend your training, please.
Oh, Helen will respond. The notes
okay.
I have given her.
Thank
you.
So,
Mukikosa ni Helen, si Mimi.
Helen, I hope you've heard us.
I have, Becky, today you really put me in fire. Okay, I've said I will work on the notes, edit them. Once I've done that, I will post them in the group. I may not be able to send to everyone. So I've put the link of the group in the chat section. So if you're not there, please click on the link. This is where we have been able to have these forums, and it's a group for mental health professionals where we have been having these discussions on a daily basis. And in line with that, next week we're going to be having sessions from people who are who are working through online or telecounseling, and we'll get to hear more of that, how that works, and hear what they have been able to find so far. But anyway, that's aside. Anastasia, your hand is still raised. Is it lowered or raised? Thank you, Richard, for that. Okay, anybody else who wants to say something?
Helen?
Yes, Suzanne?
I know you're working so hard, and I hear you. And Becky, equally this time, I know you're working very hard.
Yeah.
And I would like to say, with the COVID-19, we can't even easily refer these people. There are no safe places that we are sure of. So a lot of sensitization is needed. A lot of psychoeducation is needed. And Gregory, if you're still in the meeting, masculinity assassination, we want you to come out as men, help us. The truth is that more women than men are still experiencing sexual and gender-based violence. I am happy for those of you who have been coming to my meeting and paying the little token of 200 shillings for the work I'm doing for you, for the people who helped me put the meeting together. I have been able to support over 60 teenage mothers in one big slum in Kiambu County, so that every week there is a meal for these mothers and these teenage mothers, and it's wonderful. So we can try as counselors to use our advocacy, because it's not just offering counseling. What else can you do? Can you see a neighbor who is suffering and do something about it? Because right now COVID-19 has put everybody into a crisis mode, and it's important for us to say as counselors, despite the challenges we have been facing, what can I do differently? What can I do differently? And I'm very happy for you, Helen. I remember telling you, you will see so many people, and counselors are rich in sharing knowledge. They will share and share and share. And I believe one day we will have a common voice in this country where we shall be engaged. I tried 1199 yesterday. That is the line that Red Cross gives. And I waited, because I was like, I want to be given this number, but before I give it, can I try if I am the one receiving these services? The more reason I am saying, if we are given a helpline, toll free, for counselors only, that if we are all linked in all counties, that the people that one will get immediately, it will be a counselor online. Unfortunately, when I talked to the person who sits at the headquarters of Red Cross, she told me, because I told her I'm in Kiambu, how can I get help? And I have recorded that because I like being straightforward. I asked her, I'm in Kiambu, is there a counselor in Kiambu County that can help me? And she said, we don't work that way. I have to connect you to somebody who will help you. So in this case, we are having very many cases in the slums, very many cases in Mashambani, who are suffering from sexual and gender-based violence, but they do not have that help at hand. And one of the abilities that counselors have, when you talk about sensitization and education, we have the language. The language is motivational interviewing. The language is persuasive. So the way you can talk to a man, the way to talk to a woman, and these cases are many. Becky and the rest are in the house. I can tell you, I have never worked so hard in my center like this time, with so many SGBV cases. And so when I saw this, Becky, I was actually coming from somewhere. I read so that I can be home to join this conversation. And I know counselors, the day we shall have our own toll-free line. I know Honorable Gidongo, you are in the house. If you are still there, you sit in the committee, you're Red Cross, kindly tell them. It is a disservice if Kenyans can suffer when there are so many counselors who can actually offer services. And for Helen, because of your too much workload, you can send people the recordings, because I know you recorded. As you try to put those slides in order, getting somebody else who can help you, ensure that they first get the link, because there's a lot of discussion that has happened. Becky was explaining the points. So they can even get more from what she has presented than even the slides. Thank you so much. God bless you, Becky.
God bless you, Suzanne.
Okay, Helen.
Yes.
Sorry, my hand was up. I wanted to say that I am working with the community in Kayole, Soweto, whereby we have a church beside a counselor. And in case you have people from those areas, we are doing the basic minimal, like offering some foodstuffs to those who are really needy. So Like I was able, like last week, 2 weeks ago, I was able to rescue a girl who was pregnant and she wanted to kill herself, commit suicide and all that. So we are doing it in a small way. So the people on that area, personally, I'm willing to support. And for the people from the religious communities, I pray that, I beg that all of us can be able to empower the churches because they are good centers of influence at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Anastasia. Much appreciated.
Yes, our church is called Divine Glory Church Kayole. So we are doing the small we can with the support we have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you for that, Anastasia. Much appreciated. And I think to build on what you said, and Susan Gitau, that we see what we can do during this period as counselors, as therapists, as just to empower our community and where we are. And that's basically why we began this platform, to be able to have these discussions and share the knowledge we have, so that we are heard during this period. Mr. Kimani Gidongo, you have been mentioned so many times in this discussion, and I want us to avoid or to stay clear of some of the hot areas of politics around certain organizations. But please say something. I've seen you very active in the chat section. And by the way, he's also been a very good presenter in our sessions. He's talked about the family dynamics. He's had 2 very interesting sessions. Mr. Gidongo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Helen. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
How is everybody? Very nice to hear all of you. Helen, can I be heard?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, I have heard literally what Becky has to say, and thank you, Becky, so much. And I know we have been working together with you previously, and we have not left it. We still continue doing it. And I promise that I'll pick it up on the issue of the translations of the messaging. We can be able to do quite a lot. I've also seen Dr. Margaret has been talking about a concerted effort to bring the gender victims on board through community and so many other forums. And I have said it is through a multi-dimensional approach that we can be able to look at this. It is not a one-sided thing. But thank you, Becky, for the challenge on the men. The men encounter and the men programs that we can be able to roll it out, and I think we can be able to do that very, very well.
And you can come, we can discuss something in our organization. We would like to partner with KCPA. I'll introduce you to my colleague who heads the male engagement program. We are very open. We want to have so many men on board.
Thank you. I retired from the chairmanship, but I'm still a member of KCPA. So I can come over on behalf of KCPA, and I can come along even with the current chair, and even with the members of the committee. Some of them are actually in this particular meeting, and they are hearing that, so they can even pick it up. And lastly, I know I have an establishment in Naivasha where we can collaborate with you and offer a safe haven for the time being, because we have an infrastructure, a building which is working under Family Wellness Center. So we can work together on that. Thank you.
That's interesting.
Helen, I think that is good enough for me.
That's very good, Mr. Gidongo. And I want to continue by saying, remember I was pushing you to do a session on the role of the man, because you see the man, the man, the father, the husband at this time, they are very critical in determining our how we survive this period.
That's correct.
Basically. And I'll still push you on that one, by the way, Mr. Gidongo.
We will look into that.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for being a very good presenter.
Helen, can I interject on that?
Yes, go ahead.
That would be so beautiful, because what has happened, we have seen women stepping in spaces of where we want to talk about the role of a man, we want to talk about men. And remember, we've never been men, so we need many men to speak about. Githongo would be interested to hear you speaking about men. Even in the programs that I've talked about, male engagement, we will hardly see us there unless we're invited to go and eat meat. But because we are not men, we want to hear men. We want to hear the men speaking. We can't be telling our girls about men and we are women. They are also wondering, did we change? So we want to hear that. I like that, Helen. I'll be among the first people to listen to the role of a man.
Right. You know, I had to push Mr. Githongo for that, and I'll push him again. You know, I'll really push him, Mr. Githongo.
Helen,
yes.
You can.
Yeah, I want to encourage Honorable Githongo because I have a man who can join you. I will talk to him. He does a lot of sensitization to Kenya Defense Forces. And so, Honorable Githongo, you'll not be alone. I'll make sure I get that person. Helen, push me to get that man.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will do.
It'll be interesting, yeah.
Thank you, all of you. We will take up the task.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
And I'm just loving the collaboration amongst everybody. And it's really powerful when we know we can network, we can collaborate, we can refer. Thank you, Githongo, for that. And to, you know, yesterday I was asked by somebody, Helen, how comes you don't have any male counselors in your sessions? Because I hadn't even realized the whole week we've had, I think we've had female presenters. So I'm calling upon the men, psychologists, counselors to rise up, to be heard, to be seen. We really need your voice. So I'm actually hunting for presenters who are, I don't know. Yes, Mr. Githongo, you'll be on the front line for that one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everybody for that. I think now we can wind up
Helen,
the session.
I want to ask something.
Yes, go ahead.
Do you know anyone who knows a male counselor in Kisumu? We have there is an organization we work with in Unilever. We want a male counselor to go and do counseling, but he has to be from Kisumu. Anybody knows a male counselor in Kisumu? You can side chat me. I would really be interested. And we need to demystify that counseling is for women.
Yes, we do.
I'll give you the contacts.
I will be writing to you.
And Richard Ocheng is also saying, I think he's based around there. So we will flock your mobile phone.
All right, no problem.
Okay, thank you everybody for that. Thank you, Mr. Githongo. Thank you, Dr. Susan. Thank you, Becky. Thank you. Anastasia, your hand is still raised. Is it another question or is it has remained raised all this time?
Sorry, I forgot to put it down. I'm okay.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you. I've seen Gregory Ngoge, you're saying you can volunteer on this. Gregory, please put your number or inbox me your number in the chat section. We have 4 minutes to ending of our session. We can say hi, we can say bye, we can say thank you as we wind up the session. Thank you so much, Becky. I also agree. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yes, Lois.
Helen, please enlist my support to push Githongo.
Yes.
I can help you to push him and a few other men.
Thank you very much, Lois, for that.
Just give me 48 hours.
So we will be listening to the role of a man next week. We want to hear.
Yes. Definitely. Mr. Githongo, if you can't, between Dr. Susan Gitau and Becky and Lois, myself, you are there, you have to agree to do that session. Thank you, Gregory. I've seen your number. Thank you, everybody. We are winding up. Have a good weekend. We will not have sessions tomorrow. We have Susan Gitau on Sunday with supervision. We need to be supervised. We need to vent. We need to have some time to relax, even as we do the sessions. Then we resume on Monday. Next week we will have more of these sessions, and I'm sure we will have the role of the man or the husband or the father, not those capacities.
Amen. Amen. We are waiting for that.
Yes.
I want to hear.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Good evening. So thank you guys for listening to me. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.